Russia's threatening the world with nukes. China's got hypersonic missiles. And over here in North America, Joe Biden is the leader of the free world. He's sniffing other people's kids for some reason. He's talking about a guy named Corn Pop. And the Department of National Defense in Canada, well, they were worried that Silver Cross Mother needed to be a more gender neutral term. And I've got the embarrassing documents to prove it. Back in August of 2020, the federal government announced that they would be making the military more inclusive and gender neutral. Look at this from the time. Following a survey with over 18,000 respondents, the Royal Canadian Navy has chosen a new English rank designation for its junior ranks that will result in more gender neutral terms than the current titles, which are not reflective of the modern and progressive service that is the RCN today. Great. The RCN's junior ranks will be known as Sailor Third Class, formerly Ordinary Seaman, Sailor Second Class, formerly Able Seaman, Sailor First Class, formerly Leading Seaman, and Master Sailor, formerly Master Seaman. These changes help retain the history of these roles and aligns the English rank designations with the existing ranks in French. These new rank designations will be effective upon the issuance of a Can 4 Gen in early September. At that point, the junior ranks will begin referring to shipmates using the new rank designations. By ensuring that the RCN continues to be an accepting and inclusive organization, we can demonstrate to Canadians that we uphold the values they hold as the RCN continues to protect them, both at home and abroad. Oh, good. Call me crazy, but I don't think women who want to serve in our military and die in the defense of democracy are all that concerned about gender neutral ranks. I could be wrong, but I suspect that's the reason the government pulled 18,000 random Twitter and Facebook users instead of actual service members. So we filed for access to information to see exactly whose dumb idea this was and how it all came to be. We just got back 100 pages of documents last week, and here's what I can tell you. General Jonathan Vance and Admiral Art MacDonald were the ones pushing for this crazy idea. I mean, worrying about whether or not Master Seaman was offensive, that was the top priority for two military brass about to be embroiled in sexual harassment issues by the beginning of 2021. Here's Vance's troubles from February 2021. Former Chief of Defense Staff General Jonathan Vance is facing allegations of inappropriate behavior with two female subordinates, including one regarding an alleged relationship with a woman he significantly outranked. A source with direct knowledge of the relationship came forward to Global News alleging a relationship with sexually explicit exchanges and repeated private meetings. Global News has viewed evidence that appears to support this dating from 2019 to as recently as January 2021. Now, Vance announced his retirement from the military before the scandal broke way back in July 2020, but then his replacement had problems. Admiral MacDonald, the guy who took over from Vance in January 2020, ended up with a scandal of his own. MacDonald was named Chief of the Defense Staff by the Liberal government on December 23, 2020, and he officially took over January 14, 2021. On February 25th, though, the naval officer voluntarily and temporarily stepped aside after he came under military police investigation. It was eventually revealed the allegations involved sexual misconduct. Two virtue-signaling progressive old men used the title change as a way to show how tolerant they were about women and sexual minorities, while their own controversies with women swirled and would soon break publicly just months later. Very interesting. I should tell you, both men deny the allegations around them about mistreating women. But I do know, in black and white, these two fancied themselves to be forward-thinking leaders in a woke, artificially diverse military. Okay, let's get into the documents. Now that you know who's who in the zoo, as David Menzies likes to say on page 1, it makes it clear that former Liberal Cabinet Minister Harjit Sajjan was to oversee all of this, and he wanted to champion it. Art MacDonald talks about how the Navy is a progressive service and best employer, so it has to change the titles, because he once saw a woman named Able Seaman, and I guess that shocked him. Look at this. On reflection, after seeing a Naval Reserve female sailor recently promoted to Able Seaman, I was inspired to investigate the process and simultaneously consult with my senior staff regarding need, desirability, and potential alternative titles. What a hero! Sexism solved. Now, on page 6, we've got an email from some naval bureaucrat to another who asked, do we want to conduct a GBA plus analysis? That's the gender-based lens all government initiatives and private government regulated infrastructure projects like pipelines have to undergo now. Feminist intersectionality, critical gender theory about highways, warships, and gas plants and how they might hurt gender nonconforming people. Page 11 confirms that they did do this analysis. On page 25, it reads, we have successfully removed the gender bias from our ranks, I guess by changing the names. Congrats. That's all it would take to end sexual harassment scandals plaguing the upper ranks. Who knew it was that simple to make the dirty old men in charge behave themselves, allegedly? Page 26 encourages us to come up with a gender-neutral differential greeting address, so no sir or ma'am anymore. Page 34, the word ordinary was offensive. Look at this. Not progressive, forward-thinking enough. On page 37 from Admiral Art MacDonald, the email exchange makes it clear that the renaming is just one part of the push, with talks of gender-neutral uniforms and getting rid of the mother in Silver Cross Mother. They want to move it to Silver Cross Parent. No word of a lie. Page 40, we have an Art MacDonald email blast. Look at this. Page 40, we have Art MacDonald's email blast that reads, I'd share further that the RCN, the Royal Canadian Navy, is one of Canada's top employers in 2019, according to Forbes, prides itself on inculcating an inclusive, diverse, gender-neutral, and safe workplace. Further, as you'll know, the RCN is a Navy known not only for what relevant work it is doing, but equally for how it does this work, from what context, environment, and workplace. Therefore, the Admiralty recently determined that an organization that has long since had gender-neutral terms for personnel, i.e. sailor or shipmate, needs to reconsider some few rank titles that are rich in history but perhaps not reflective of the modern progressive service that is the RCN today. Remember, this guy's embroiled in a sex scandal now and under investigation by the military police. Again, he admits nothing and nothing has been proven in court. But this is an email sent by that guy. Page 47 is a note explaining that it would be a 2-year process to make the changes to the ranks. Other references say 2 to 3 years in other emails. What this means is they skipped a lot and rushed the announcement after only 5 months, which means the changes aren't actually approved yet and are just informal. Page 76, we have the plan to poll people on the issue, including the government considering doing Twitter and Facebook surveys. It is funny but sad to see that as the world was spiraling into an unknown pandemic, our military was obsessed about changing title names and discussing whether a Facebook poll or a survey monkey would be more effective, while simultaneously understanding that March break was going to delay their results. China's hypersonic missiles, they're no match for the Canadian military's Facebook polling and March break intelligence gathering. All of this embarrassing nonsense that we see, I think, puts the state of Canada into serious jeopardy. But we wouldn't know any of this without access to information filings. We do several of these a day. Sometimes they return gold like today, and sometimes they return nothing. But we don't know unless we file, and we don't know unless we read them. The process is time-consuming and expensive. We've got filing fees, labor to go through them all. We have a research assistant who is absolutely vital, who helps us every step of the way. And we have you. While the pandemic was raging and while sexual harassment scandals were about to break in the upper ranks of the Canadian military, the top brass were worried about gender-neutral, inclusive terms and using the word Silver Cross Parent instead of Silver Cross Mother. We wouldn't know any of this crazy information without our access to information investigation funded by people like you at home. If you'd like to donate to offset our filing fees and investigative costs, please donate at rebelinvestigates.com.